Hello, I'm Hazel. I'm a chiropractor and breathwork yoga instructor. And today I'll be taking you through how to unblock your nose. So this might seem slightly random, but generally at rest, we ideally want to be breathing in and out through the nose. And unless you have an actual cold and you have a lot of nasal congestion. And when we breathe through our nose, we're telling our nervous system that we are safe and we are relaxed. And it's super common now to be breathing in and out through the mouth just at rest. When we talk, we will breathe a little through the mouth, but generally we want to encourage this nasal breathing. And to help with that, we want to try and open up the nasal passages as much as possible. So that's what this video is for. So one thing, if your nose feels really blocked to start, is to get some eucalyptus oil. This is a little breathe easy essential oil blend that you can get from most health shops, but you can usually get eucalyptus. Have some tissue, pop some drops into a tissue, and to start the practice, breathe in and out and see if you can sniff the smell into your nose. If you feel, yeah, my nose is a bit more blocked than this, you may want to get some hot water, put the drops into the hot water, lean over, put a towel over your head to create steam, and then breathe in the steam with the smell of the eucalyptus. So then next stage, and have some tissues handy for this because you may need to clear out any drippage as we go along. The next stage is a technique you can use to try and get some movement if there's some blockage. We'll be breathing in, holding our nose and nodding our head, okay? So I'll talk you through it. So take a breath in through your nose if you can. Hold your nose, hold your breath and nod. Let go of your nose, breathe out. And if possible, breathe back in through your nose. And that might just feel that it clears the back passages. You can do that twice more, so feel free to pause the video and repeat that if necessary. Next, we're going to start to try and release the sinus around the nose. So using your index fingers, coming into the area where your nose meets your cheek. This is called your conche. It can actually feel a bit painful, so give it a good rub. I'm almost doing little circular actions all along the ridge there. And at the same time, I'm stretching the nostrils outwards. And then breathing in. So I'm stretching and breathing in through the nose. A little rub and a stretch. Just see if you can start to release the area a little. And this flare of the nostrils, this is called a fierce breath. So apparently it makes your face look fierce. I think it just looks like there's a bad smell. So it's like a bad smell breath. If that does feel like that's released a little, you might need to give it a little blow. Next one, taking the fingertips from the center just by your nose and stretching across your cheeks and then flicking. So I'm taking from the center and I'm stretching. A little flick, do a couple more. And at the same time as I'm stretching, I'm breathing in. Lovely. And then come to the forehead, fingers together, and stretch across the forehead. A little flick at the ends. As I stretch across, I'm going to open my mouth. And again. Lovely. Take your fingers to your ears. Be careful if you have any jewelry in. And very gently start to pull your earlobes down. Don't worry if the ears click a little, that's completely normal. And again, have a little stretch of your face, stretch of the jaw. You got your eustachian tube that goes between the ears into the back of the throat. Awesome. Now we're going to force the air out through one of our nostrils. So I'm going to do, doesn't matter which nostril you do, but close on one side, and then with the other using your thumb and forefinger. But if you're happy to get involved here, just very gently stretch the nostril, and then I'm pushing the air out on my exhale like this. Yeah. Again, blow your nose in between if you need to. And the other side. Thumb and forefinger, stretch the nostril. Lovely. And again, you're welcome to do a few rounds of that if that feels at all helpful. And then coming back to that first breath now. So if you need to, use the thumb and forefinger to stretch the nostrils. But now we're going to see if you can get this muscle to be stretching and flaring the nostrils. So it looks a bit like this. I'm trying to breathe in through my nose and flare the nostrils. And obviously it makes your face look really silly. And then relax your face and just take a relaxed breath in through the nose. And hopefully that feels a little bit more open. Like I say, if you're really congested, if you have a cold, then these practices are not going to work. This is more about if you just have some gentle congestion, then hopefully these can help. This is something that you can repeat daily. I often get a lot of people asking me about doing the washes. So a traditional yogic practice is where you can pour water in the nose. The reason I don't teach that as part of this is there's a risk that water stays up in the sinuses and it can get infected. If it's done well, a neti pot with the washing can be really effective. But I feel unless I'm actually guiding someone in person, I don't feel confident to just show that over on a video in case you don't get all the water out afterwards. But neti pot is something that people can regularly use. But like I say, if you're not confident with that and you haven't been shown it, I would say, in my opinion, not to do it. And you may find some people have used the nasal strips. They're also the sort of stop snoring strips, and I find them to be really helpful. So I've had a few of my patients particularly wearing them at night, and it's just a simple strip that goes across here. You can get them in every chemist, and I actually think they're quite helpful to start to unblock the nose. And then when you feel your nose is unblocked and you want to try and get out the habit of breathing through the mouth at rest, you can tape your mouth. So you can get a little bit of surgical tape and just pop it just from top to bottom here. I would start with doing that when you're just at rest at home. So say you're working on your computer, just put a little bit of tape on and just see how that feels. And then the next stage could be to try it during the night, just a bit of tape to try and then be breathing. And then those that are working with doing it during performance, you would then start with a walk with it taped, maybe try a slightly faster walk, but please don't go straight to cycling and running with the mouth taped. You have to build up through the stages. So doing the nasal training first and then starting with just taping at rest. Any questions, please get in touch and yeah, let me know how you get on. Thank you.